Hey everybody, Monty here again with another deck profile for you. This deck profile is another 1.5 deck profile, and it is a red Ragnalordmon deck. I was doing some thinking, and I was thinking to myself that black Ragnalord feels pretty bad right now because there's a serious lack of removal, a serious lack of good option cards for black. And yes, while black does have a lot of blockers, it's really expensive to get all the way up to Ragnalordmon, and it just feels like you can't really take advantage of the high memory costs. Even with Joe, it just feels like you're spending too much memory and you're not getting to that big beater consistently enough and fast enough to actually be able to make a difference in the game and win. The red deck really just focuses on you just winning the game a lot earlier and giving you big swings with your Ragnalordmon. So I'm just going to jump right into the deck profile right now. When it comes to rookies, we're going to run one Poromon. I think having the minus 1000 DP deletion is pretty inconsequential, but I think it's good if they're hard playing some 1000 rookies like Gabumon or some of the Agumons. It just works out pretty well for you. We're also going to be running 4 Gigimons because Gigimon is really, really good, giving us some additional DP for our big beaters to get over things. Ragnalordmon's only 14,000 DP, so it's going to give us that extra DP to get over things like Omnimon Alter-S insecurity. When it comes to rookies, we're going to be running 4 Zubamon. A Zubamon is going to be your main searcher. You're going to slam him down to make sure that you get a Legend Armed Digimon in your hand, as well as a Ragnalordmon. It lets you cycle through your cards really fast, and there's not a lot of cards that we care about putting to the bottom of our deck because we have so much versatility and ability to climb with this deck. When it comes to the rest of the rookies, we're running 4 Monodramons and 4 Biomons. Super great, cheap vanilla slam monsters that we can just get out there if we need to go really wide early game. If we're not drawing into our big beaters, we can just go slam these really good for making sure that we can build a wide board and get some chip damage off early or be able to digivolve multiple stacks to make sure that we have a couple outs. Finally, for rookies, we're running 2 of the 3-cost Biomons. These are just some additional cards that we can slam and get some additional memory back and provide us with more opportunity to make plays. For our champions, we're running 4 Zuba Eagermons. This one's kind of self-explanatory. It's a 2-cost champion with the effect that if it is level 7, your Digimon gains an additional +1 security attack. So you'll have, if you stack up your Digimon, you can have, your Ragnalordmon swinging for 4 security pretty easily. Other champion, Dark Tyrannomon, 1-cost champion, super good for starving your opponent of memory, super great for using to digivolve, and lets you climb up to your Ragnalordmons really, really quickly. In the next champion slot, we have Greymon. This is the starter deck Greymon with the +1 security attack. There's a couple different ways that you can run this. You could definitely swap out 2 of these for the Greymons that give +1000 DP, or you can swap over 2 Cordramons, or you can swap out 4 for Cordramons. It's really up to you and your playstyle. I like to go full aggro, so I dropped in 4 of the Greymons here. You could also take out 2 of them and throw in 2 Tai Chi Chambers if you want to get the additional security attack on your red Digimon with 4 Digivolution cards or more, because you are going to look to Digivolve with this deck a lot. But all in all, it's just a lot of consistency, making sure that we're always going to be swinging big with our Ragnalordmons. For our champions, we're running 4 Duramons. It does the same exact thing as Zuba Eagermon, just getting the additional security attack for our Ragnalordmon, making sure that it can swing big and do lots of damage. For our next champion, we're running Lavogaritamon. Ultimate. Lavogaridamon's really, really good. He does everything you want in a climbing Digimon. He's vanilla. He's got a pretty decent stat line of 8000 DP. He just makes sure that you have all the tools that you need to go in and get out your Blitz Greymons or your Ragnalordmons to climb into your Ragnalordmon. For our Megas, we have Blitz Greymon and Ragnalordmon. Blitz Greymon is actually insane. His D-Digivolve 2 is really good against big, strong monsters like Omnimon Alter-S, helps to get over them, helps get rid of problem things like Ceresmon or Imperial Dramon Blue, and he only costs 4, so removal for 4 cost is really good. And this allows you to have a bit more removal in your deck. 8 removal cards, I think, is plenty. It gives you enough of an answer to deal with some of those problem things. It guarantees that you're going to be able to deal with it at least. 4 of their big boss monsters per game, because you're not likely going to draw into all of your Blitz or all into your Gaia Force, but this kind of gives you those answers. Ragnalordmon is going to be your blocker inheritable. It's going to make sure that you can, reboot and block with your Ragnalordmon, making sure that your opponent has to burn things like Gaia Forces or Trump Swords or whatever it may be onto your Ragnalordmon to get rid of it. And this way you can also halt your opponent's plays, stop them from going for game due to your reboot and blocker. I'm not running any of the Durandamons with Piercing because I think it kind of clutters the deck up a little bit. And with the Blitzgreymon, you probably want to go into Ragnalordmon over the Blitzgreymon as your Ragnalordmon you can just add from your hand. Blitzgreymon is just so great, so useful, and you should be able to draw into at least one of them. And that way you still get the cost decrease for your Ragnalordmon. Finally, we're running Gaia Force as our option card. Gaia Force is, I think, the most overpowered option card in the game. It does way too much. It is so good, and I would not be surprised that if it gets limited in the future because of how versatile it is and how much it can disrupt your opponent's plays and how relatively cheap it is when it's a delete anything effect. Yes, it's countered by Craniumon, but that's the only thing that can really deal with it. Otherwise, it just does so much for red right now in this meta. I think later on it's not as good, but right now 1.5 it's pretty insane in combination with Blitzgreymon. You have so many answers, especially in combination with things like Omnimon and Omnimon Alter-S. Obviously, in this deck, you could take out one Ragnalordmon if you want to, or 2, and run Omnimon Alter-S if you want to. I think that kind of defeats the purpose of this deck. It's not based around removal and control. It's more based around just swinging for game in one turn and just popping your opponent's entire team or entire security stack in one swing. Of course, this deck is, a little bit susceptible to security. So if you are running into a Gaia Force or you are running into an Omnimon in the security, you can lose your Ragnalordmon as it's only 14,000. So, with Gigimon, you get up to 15,000, so you may want to think about running the Greymon with the plus 1,000 DP to make sure that you get over those. Also, if it runs into things like Yellow, Shine Greymon with, a couple TKs out there, that can also hamper it pretty hard. But otherwise, it's pretty much unmatched when swinging into security, so you have to get pretty unlucky for it to die. So the way that you want to play this deck is you want to make sure that you have 2 styles. There's 2 ways that you can go about this. You can go super wide with your rookies and then build into your mid game and swing for a lot of security with your Ragnalordmon, or you can play a more of control style, starve opponent from memory when they get something out. You can go into Blitzgreymon, you can go into Gaia Force, and then once you've kind of removed that big threat from their board, then you can go into Ragnalordmon and swing for game. This deck is good, but it does suffer against decks that have a lot of removal, so it's not super great against purple. If they can get a lot of Trump Swords out, because your Ragnalordmon does have reboot, he will always be targetable by Trump Sword, not necessarily in security, but by Trump Sword in the hand. Running into Omnimon Alter-S red decks, he's also pretty susceptible because they're going to run Blitzgreymon, they're going to run Alter-S, and they're going to run Gaia Force, so they can deal with Ragnalordmon pretty easily. But otherwise, he also can lose to Yellow. Shine Greymon decks are pretty strong right now. I would say this deck is kind of a C tier deck, B C tier deck right now. It definitely has some ability to pop off, but it's not super great, and definitely has counters. But isn't weak by any means. It's just not the strongest deck right now. I would put it, definitely a tier below Red Omni and Shine Greymon right now for sure. In the same tier as Purple Lilithmon right now. Some of the green decks post nerf. I think right now Ceresmon without the nerfs is incredibly strong and really, really versatile, and you can build a board up so fast, and you can take advantage of the tapping features to get rid of problem Digimon as well for turns. So right now, this pre-ban, it's definitely in a drop below the top 3, but I think it has the potential to be a bit of a rogue deck and to make some plays later on. Thanks so much for watching.